Is the government planning to tell us about the 122-acre white supremacist compound that's being used to train and arm white supremacists all over the country? Or are they too busy monitoring our social media posts to
This is all over America, she says.
even give a damn? Patriot Front, a far-right hate group, has been increasingly active in Tennessee, with investigations revealing their plans to build a compound in East Tennessee and hold training sessions at this compound. Patriot Front has been linked to several violent incidents across the country. The group, led by this 26-year-old named Thomas Rizzo, has been involved in multiple flash mob-style protests in cities like Washington, D.C. and Boston. They wear these white masks to show their identities, carry smoke grenades, guns, and have been spotted distributing hate-filled flyers and defacing murals that celebrate Black history. Leaked videos show them engaging in Nazi salutes and using racial slurs. According to News Channel 5 Nashville, Patriot Front's connections to white supremacist organizations were further revealed when members were identified at the American Renaissance Conference in Tennessee. Among them were the founder and other key members, such as this guy named Robert Benjamin Whitted and Garrett Joseph Garland, who had been previously arrested for planning to create a riot at the Pride event in Idaho in 2021. The group's brand new compound that's located in East Tennessee spans 122 acres and is still under construction. It serves as their base for their recruitment and training efforts. Videos from inside the compound show members training in mixed martial arts and preparing for violent confrontations. They have also been caught with riot shields, tactical radios, and first aid kits during past operations, as if they're preparing for violent confrontations in the future. When is the government planning to tell us about the 122-acre white supremacist compound that's being used to train?
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, in verse 14, and it reads, it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring. The house of David, the elect, that's pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit of the Rakakwadash. And we've been warning and telling you Jakes for years now that these Edomites are secretly preparing war to wipe you out. All right? It's no longer a secret. You know, real quick, Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 28. It says, "For they are a nation void of counsel." And this is talking about you Israelites. All right? We say it all the time, but you really don't understand what's getting ready to happen. What's really about to go down here in America, man. Okay? "For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them." Verse 29, my point, it says, "Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end." You see, so only if you Jakes, the majority of our people, will really pay attention and understand what's being prepared right now, man. Okay? Esau is getting ready to make his move. All right. Again, this ties into the great wrath in Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. All right. He's getting ready. As a matter of fact, let me just get it instead of quoting it. All right. So while Jake is caught up in folly and in the fucking, Cassie and Diddy distractions, the nasty shit, the freak offs, the bread and circus, this is what these Edomites are doing. Revelation 12 and 12, "Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you." All right, you pertaining to the tribes. Okay, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics. "For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time." All right, so these devils are ready. They're training, they're arming up. Okay, they're doomsday prepping. Okay, they're doing their as we're going to get into, they're militarizing the police force. All right, they're deputizing, military agents and all of that. All right, which we've been warning you about. All right, real quick, Jeremiah 30 and 4, and it reads, it says, "And these are the words that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai spoke concerning Israel and concerning Judah. All right, both the northern and southern kingdom. Okay, all 12 tribes, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail. All right, it's going to be like a woman about to give birth in these times. All right, and all faces turned into paleness. All right, the fear of the Lord. All right, what the Lord is about to bring, the judgment, man, the terror. Verse 7, the point, Jeremiah 30:7, it says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he should be saved out of it, the he pertaining to the elect. All right, so I want to play this video real quick, which sparked this lesson here. All right, this came out 7 days ago. The headline, it says, white professor sends warning to black Americans how Trump is going to make life hard for blacks. Check this out. All right, listen to what this guy says here.
It is not that Trump and his family will use the influence of government to increase their wealth, although this will certainly take place on a massive scale. It is that hundreds of billions of federal dollars will be diverted into the hands of cronies, sleazy bankers, unethical financial firms, and scabrous hedge fund managers. Everything will, to use a business term, be harvested. The decaying pillars of the liberal state in America will be obliterated. At the same time, the militarization of America is being accelerated. The defense budget will be increased by 10% or $54 billion, although the United States already spends more than the defense budgets of the next 7 countries combined. The paramilitary forces of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which will soon hire 10,000 more agents, and the Border Patrol, which will hire 5,000 more agents, along with Homeland Security, have all deputized local and state police to function as their auxiliaries. They will be flooded with cast-off military-issue equipment. These paramilitary forces will not disband once they have finished terrorizing and deporting some of the 11 million undocumented workers in the United States. They will turn on their next victims, Muslims, African Americans, Asians, dissidents.
Right, now I want to add on to that point. All right, he's telling you they're militarizing the police. All right, they're getting the troops together. All right, they're increasing on they're increasing their defense spending. All right, the equipment, the armory, all of that, man. They're preparing for all hell to break loose. All right, this thing is going down. This is the book of Luke, chapter 19 and verse 41. And it reads, it says, when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, if thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thy eyes. Verse 43, the point. Luke 19, verse 43. For the days shall come upon thee, that thy enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee on every side. All right, so this is getting ready to happen again in the spirit. Okay, this happened back during 70 AD. Okay, Roman persecution upon the Israelites. All right, the southern kingdom. All right, and this is going to happen again in the spirit in the form of martial law. Okay, and just like it says here on my sword as I'm looking at it, it says encircle, besiege you. All right, so there's going to be a besiege of Jerusalem all over again. This is why they're preparing the martial law, the agents, the troops, okay, deputizing, certain Edomite groups or whatnot, okay? They're getting ready to come down upon Jake. Luke 19 and 43, for the day shall come upon thee, that thy enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee on every side. And just like Titus, he created a wall around Jerusalem to close in on us. Okay, this is happening in the spirit again. All right, as we were listening to this Edomite here, man, he was bringing it out. All right. Luke 19:44, it says, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. Right? Many of our people are not prepared for these scenarios here. Okay, Jake is caught up in the trends on social media, these stupid dances, the bread and circus, all the bullshit to keep their minds away from what really matters, what's going on, which ultimately is prophecy, man. Okay, and just listen to what he was saying. All right, and we'll play the video some more, but it reminded me of Ezekiel 23, because he talked about the gathering, how they're gathering up the different military personnel, the police forces, these Edomite groups. All right, they're all preparing to go to war against Jake. Right. This is Ezekiel 23, and starting at verse 22 here, it says, therefore, O Aholibah, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shemel Shah, behold, I will raise up thy lovers against thee, from whom thy mind is alienated, and I will bring them against thee on every side. See? The Babylonians and all the Chaldeans, Pekod and Shoah and Koa, and all the Assyrians with them, all of them desirable young men, captains and rulers, great lords and renown, all of them riding upon horses. All right, as we heard, right? And they should come with thee with chariots, wagons, and wheels. Right? They're gathering up the armory, the weaponry, the shields, all the stuff that we just heard here. Okay, and they should come against thee with chariots, wagons, and wheels, and with assembly of people, which shall set against thee buckler and shield and helmet round about. Didn't we just hear this? Okay, these Edomites are preparing these things now. And I will set judgment before them, and they shall judge thee according to thy judgments. See that? So the Lord is gonna He's gonna allow these devils to have their way with these 2/3. Right? Let's play that again. Right? Let me go back and play that point. Right?
Which will soon hire 10,000 more agents. And the Border Patrol, which will hire 5,000 more agents, along with Homeland Security, have all deputized local and state police to function as their auxiliaries. They will be flooded with cast-off military-issue equipment. These paramilitary forces will not disband once they have finished terrorizing and deporting some of the 11 million undocumented workers in the United States. They will turn on their next victims, Muslims, African Americans, Asians, dissidents.
Yeah, see? So this is that flood of troops, right? This is going to happen again in the spirit. Okay? It says, Ezekiel 23, verse 24, and they shall come against thee with chariots, wagons, and wheels, with an assembly of people, which shall set against thee buckler and shield and helmet round about. And I will set judgment before them, and they shall judge thee according to their judgments. You see? Verse 25, and I will set my jealousy against thee, and they shall deal furiously with thee. See? And they shall deal furiously with thee. They shall take away thy nose and thine ears, and thy remnant shall fall by the sword. They shall take thy sons and daughters. See? And they're doing that now with this whole immigration shit, man. All right? Snatching up the kids. Kids are going missing. Separating families. Right? They shall take thy sons and daughters, and the residue shall be devoured by the fire. They shall also strip thee out of thy clothes, and take away thy fair jewels. Right? Hey, this is martial law. Okay? It says, thus will I make thee lewdness. Thus will I make thy lewdness to cease from thee, and thy whoredom brought from the land of Egypt, so that thou should not lift up thy eyes unto them, nor remember Egypt anymore. Verse 28, it says, for thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, behold, I will deliver thee into the hands of them whom thou hatest. See that? So the Lord is going to deliver 2/3 into the hands of who they hate, man. Okay, your enemies, these Edomites, these nations, man. I will deliver thee into the hand of them whom thou hatest, into the hand of them from whom thy mind is alienated, and they shall deal with thee hatefully. Right? This is a time like no other, man. Jacob's trouble. And they shall deal with thee hatefully, and shall take away all thy labor, and shall leave thee naked and bare. Whew, man. And the nakedness of thy whoredom shall be discovered, both thy lewdness and thy whoredoms, and I will do these things unto thee, because thou hast gone a whoring after the heathen, because thou art polluted with their idols. You see that? So I was looking this up in the chat GPT, all right, which was heavy too. Let me pull that up. Right? So it says here, starting at the top, it says in Ezekiel 23 through 29, which we just read, it says the prophet Ezekiel is delivering a message of judgment from the Most High against Jerusalem, represented allegorically as Aholibah, the younger sister, in a metaphor about two adulterous women. The elder sister Oholah represents Samaria, Israel, the northern kingdom, right? And it says, this passage describes in vivid symbolic language how the Most High is handing Jerusalem over to the nations she once desired, and those same nations will now become her destroyers. See? The point here, the key elements and meaning, it says, Yahweh Shem Yahushai is summoning an alliance of nations against Jerusalem. Babylonians, Chaldeans, Assyrians, and others are listed. These are the very nations with which Jerusalem had formed alliances, and from whom she sought help instead of trusting in the Most High. All right. See, Jake is all into the politics, into this American system. You know, these different idols, these different religions. This is the punishment that's coming. Right. It says these nations are described as militarily strong and imposing. Everything we're hearing in this video. Right. These nations are described as militarily strong and imposing. They come with full military force, chariots, shield, helmets, signifying total war against who? Against your Israelites. Okay, this is what we heard in these two videos. Okay, these Edomites are preparing. The system is getting ready to come down on Jake. It says God declares he is the one allowing this judgment, right? That's real quick. Isaiah 10:5, it says, O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, the staff in their hand is my indignation, right? The Lord is controlling the Assyrian, which today would be the Edomite. I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them like the mire in the streets. You see that? Jake doesn't have a fucking idea of what's about to come down, man. Total oblivious, right? Finishing that out. It says, meaning the nations that Jerusalem lusted after, politically and spiritually, will now turn against her. This is what we've been telling you. All right? This is what Isaiah 31 says, right? Isaiah 31:1. Help not in Egypt, but in the Most High. Isaiah 31:1, it says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. Woe is destruction. All right? Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So this is the punishment. Those that want to continue to trust in Babylon, this system, all right, all this bullshit that these Edomites is feeding you, you know, the Christian church, all right, that plantation Christianity, all of that madness, the Lord is about to reward Jake for not trusting in him. The people that you trusted in, that you sought alliances for, they're going to turn on you and destroy you, right? Verse 25, the Most High says he will direct his jealous anger through these nations. The invaders will act with extreme cruelty, cutting off noses and ears, a practice sometimes used as humiliation or punishment in the ancient world. Whew, man, and the Assyrians, they were known for that. Okay, when you look it up, all right, they would cut off fingers and gouge out eyes, you know. So the Lord is going to allow these nations to have their way, is the point. It says sons and daughters will be taken. Survivors will be burned or destroyed. Meaning it says God's jealousy, like that of a betrayed spouse, turns to fierce judgment for Israel's unfaithfulness. This is what we're saying. You see? It says strip away clothing and jewelry. It says the enemy will strip away clothing and jewelry, symbols of luxury and seduction. Yeah, all of this, luxury and name brand, all the shit that Jake is into, all that's going to be cast away. The money, everything, man. Okay? They're establishing laws right now to get rid of your right to trial. Right? It says put an end to the lewdness and prostitution that began in Egypt, referencing Israel's long history of idolatry starting from the time of Exodus. God will cut off not just current sins, but the root of spiritual corruption going back generations. You see? And the rest is understood. Right? Let me get this too. Excuse me. Right? Or before I read that, just making that point. Okay? Dealing with the habeas corpus. This came out a few days ago. It says, what is habeas corpus and why does Trump want to suspend it? Okay? So it says here, jumping down, it says, what is habeas corpus? It says habeas corpus affords any prisoner being held by the U.S. government the right to argue about the legality of their detention before a judge. The U.S. Constitution does not explicitly establish the right to habeas corpus, but Article 1 of the document protects the right and limits when it can be suspended. And Trump is talking about suspending this, man. So you don't have a fair trial. They can just come and get you, man. This is the point. This is what they're preparing for, man. Okay? It says the process starts when an individual files a petition seeking a writ of habeas corpus, which is a court order compelling the government to bring the person before a judge to present evidence and arguments about the detention. It is most often used by federal prisoners who have been convicted or trying to challenge an application law that resulted in their detention, according to the Legal Information Institute at Cornell University. All right. Let's just read a little bit more. Here we go. The point. What is the Trump administration's argument for suspending habeas corpus? It says the Trump administration maintains that the U.S. is under invasion by the number of people in the country without permission, particularly those they claim are affiliated with gangs and terrorist organizations. All right. And we're going to be numbered amongst that. Okay. We're going to be put in those categories, man. Okay. This is bigger than, like I said, this is bigger than the immigration thing, man. Okay. They're getting ready to come down upon the true believers in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay. This is what this is for. All right. And really upon Jake in general. This is Jacob's trouble. Right? 2 Ezra 16, in verse 18, it says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine, plague, tribulation, anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. All right? I was looking up this word, scourges. Okay? This is a source. This is a source of widespread, dreadful affliction. Excuse me. A source of widespread, dreadful affliction and devastation such as that caused by pestilence or war. See? A means of inflicting severe suffering, vengeance, or punishment. Okay? This is what the Lord is bringing, man. Okay. Second Ezra 16-20 says, "But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges." Right. So Jake, with all of this information coming out, Jake is not mindful. Jake is not considering. That's why we read that Deuteronomy 32 and what was it, 28? That if Jake would consider his latter end, okay, this thing is going down. Martial law, so-called race wars, man. Edomite groups, all right. The high profile, what's it called? The high impact police force. Trump is beefing up the military and police forces against who? Against you, Jakes.
This militarization of society is designed to carry out the race war that Trump and those around him see.
You heard it. You heard it.
These paramilitary forces will not disband once they have finished terrorizing and deporting some of the 11 million undocumented workers in the United States. They will turn on their next victims, Muslims, African Americans, Asians, dissidents. This militarization of society is designed to carry out the race war that Trump and those around him see as inevitable at home and abroad. In poor communities of color, this race war has already begun. Racial profiling, random police stops, raids at homes and businesses, people of color pulled from vehicles at checkpoints, seizures of individuals with no criminal records or who never committed a serious crime, imprisonment without trial.
Yeah, what we just read. Okay, habeas corpus. All right, Trump is planning on taking this away. Man.
Expedited deportation hearings and removal proceedings that violate the most basic human rights. The arrest of a beneficiary of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA program, Daniel Ramirez Medina, 23, who, along with the program's other 750,000 successful applicants, had revealed all personal history to the government in applying for DACA status. Parents separated, perhaps forever, from their children. The hunted going underground. The end of the rule of law. The abandonment of the common good. The obliteration of a social state in which institutions and assistance programs, from public education to Social Security and welfare, make justice, equality, and dignity possible. White Europeans who are undocumented are not being targeted. The executive orders of Trump are directed against people of color. They begin from the premise that white Americans are the true victims of neoliberalism, deindustrialization, and falling living standards. The Trump orders are written not to make America great again, but to make America white.
Hello, Ezra.
Yeah, so there you go, man. That's what it's about. All right, and Jake is the primary target. All right, as we read, man, the nations, the troops, they're all being made ready. All right, so it's not a game. So I pray that this quick lesson was edifying, and shalom to the next one. Shalom.